Yahoo Sports Fantasy Football this week is brought to you by Head & Shoulders. Check out troyshair.com.
Some position battles are playing themselves out in the preseason. Who's on track to make your fantasy football team? Hello, everybody. I'm Carissa Thompson here with Yahoo Sports fantasy gurus Brad Evans and Brandon Funston. All right, gentlemen, in Buffalo, the Bills have a pair of ball-carrying veterans in Fred Jackson and Marshawn Lynch. That being said, Brad, focus and start with you here. They're both battling injuries. So is C.J. Spiller worth some serious consideration?
Oh, absolutely is. This situation has gone from toxic to terrific really almost overnight. You got Marshawn Lynch out 3 to 4 weeks with a wrenched ankle. You've got Fab 5 Freddie Jackson out for 4 to 5 weeks with a broken hand. Probably going to threaten his week 1 and 2 availability. So C.J. Spiller, who was absolutely electric, set all kinds of records at college while a member of the Clemson Tigers a season ago, is a guy worth drafting, maybe as a lower-tiered RB2, especially for those first couple of weeks. I know he's got difficult matchups against Miami and at Green Bay, but this guy is so versatile, so dangerous in space that he can, be very creative with the football and eat up large chunks of yards in the process. So I think Spiller is a guy with a not extraordinary upside, I would say mediocre upside. I still think Fab 5 Freddie Jackson is going to have a prominent role once he gets healthy within this offense, but still, Spiller is a guy we're drafting in the middle rounds.
All right, Brandon, what's your take? Is Spiller worth the risk?
I would say no, because the problem is he comes from Clemson, where he was electric. He was the most electric college players in the land last year. And so for that reason, in every draft, someone's going to overrate him because they're going to remember all these highlight plays. So you're going to have to kind of go a little bit higher than you'd want to, given his situation. And as Brad talked about with the running backs in Buffalo, these are not long-term injuries. These guys are veterans that are hurt. Come week 1, it's okay if they missed a little bit of camp time. There's going to be 3 mouths to feed at that point. And you're talking about the 5th worst offense in the league last year, probably the worst passing game in the league. And you're talking the AFC East, where there's 3 really good defenses. You're going to have to play 6 times. Arguably, the Jets, the best defense in the league. And then you get bad weather come November, December. And C.J. Spiller is not the kind of guy that you're going to want in bad weather kind of situations to begin with. So, given all those factors, I don't want any of these Buffalo guys.
All right, speaking of bad weather, let's focus our attention on the NFC North now, specifically Chicago. The Bears are looking for some resemblance of wide receiving corp over there. So, Brandon, break it down for us, and who has the edge to be that top guy for Jay Cutler right now?
Well, everything that I've heard in camp and all the glowing, the most glowing reports are going to Johnny Knox right now. It seems like he's really solidified his place as one of those starters. I know Devin Aramashu had a great, finish to last season. Did it in a bunch of meaningless games, though, in a meaningless season for Chicago. I'm not going to put a ton of weight into that. I'm looking at what I'm hearing right now. Johnny Knox for Mike Martz, sounding like he's the number 1 guy. The first preseason game, Jay Cutler threw 2 passes. They both went to Johnny Knox for 47 yards. Then they checked out. Yeah, Aramashu came in at that point with a backup quarterback and put up some nice numbers. But right now, Johnny Knox, I think you can guarantee he's going to be a starter. It was pretty good his rookie season, over 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, and now he comes in year 2. And Mike Martz, a guy that has a long history of having prolific passing attacks. So he's the guy I'm most excited about.
And Cutler definitely wants to lower that interceptions number from last year, that's for sure. Brad, you're a former Chicago guy, so who are you keeping an eye on?
Look, I don't think Fort Knox is stocked with fantasy gold this season. I know he's number 1 on the depth chart right now, but come season's end, I don't think he's going to be number 1 on fantasy depth charts. Devin Aramashu is going to be the Bears receiver that you want to draft, and here's the reason why. Yes, he's 3rd on the depth chart, but that's irrelevant in Martz's system that features a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. He's going to operate out of the slot. He's long. He's lanky. He's got deceptive speed. He's a better red zone target than Johnny Knox, who doesn't run the most polished routes in the world. And I think Jay Cutler's bosom buddy relationship he had with Aramashu down the stretch last season is going to carry over in the regular season this year. Already Aramashu had 4 catches, 78 yards, and a touchdown in his preseason debut. Granted, he caught the TD pass from Haney in that game, and it was also against a lot of second-hand Chargers. But I like his upside. I think he will score more touchdowns and ultimately more fantasy points than Johnny Knox. Get Aramashu on your team, an exceptional value after pick 60 in any draft.
All righty, gentlemen. Good stuff as always. Thank you so much, and thank you for watching Yahoo Sports coverage of fantasy football.